all. Thank you for being here. My name is Jose Lindsay, and this is Heartful. And today, what we're going to be talking about is the energies of 2026. So, if you haven't noticed yet, the energies of 2026 are coming in hot, as we say, and they're very intense. And what they're going to do is they're going to intensify whatever you're feeling. So, things will get magnified and raise in intensity of whatever you are thinking, feeling, and basically projecting, and it will come much, much faster. And it's not just about thinking positively and having good emotions, which is also very important, like law of attraction, more of a law of vibration. Whatever you vibrate, you get back. The underlying thing that keeps you back is all the stuff you didn't drop, basically, since birth, since you were a kid, all those things that you didn't forgive. And if you're like me, if you have a certain person in your life that's been sort of a challenge, let's say, for your life, you can say that I've dropped it, I've forgiven them, but it's a much harder thing to do than saying just drop it. So as I was preparing for this video, I don't know what you want to call it, an image came to me to completely simplify through a visual image of what it might be like to forgive somebody. So this is for those, if you have a person in your life or people in your life that as much as you've tried to forgive and let go, it stays with you and it seems to be maybe affecting what you're getting in life, is just not able to let go of those last pieces. I'm going to show you what came to me. So this is going to be a very simplistic way of saying this and explaining this, but maybe this will resonate for some of you. So I'll get my little whiteboard here. Okay. I wish I could draw better, but I will explain to you what these things are. Okay. So this would be you, and this would be your soul. Okay. So your soul here is behind you. There's no front and behind. You are your soul. You can't separate it. Of course, your soul is within you, but this is just for an exercise of how to let stuff go. So if you see it separate from yourself, you might be able to get the concept. So this is what I call your flesh suit, your avatar. This is, you are an energetic body. You are your soul, and it is in here. But you have this personality flesh suit that is in the world, and you have thoughts and feelings, and this is your soul. For now, let's just say it's behind you. It's not, but let's just say for these purposes it is. And then, of course, the soul is connected to everything, the unified field, the universe, source intelligence, God, whatever words resonate for you, and that's connected. Now, here, this is, let's say, again, very simplistic. This is your connection to your soul, okay? And you and the people around you can be very connected or disconnected. This is, let's say, a tap to this connection, to the life force, to soul, to universe, okay? Depending on what you've been through or other people in your life have been through, they can be closing the tap. I don't think there's a source of evil or a source of badness. I have a feeling that we're all connected, and you pinch yourself off from the oneness and the source. And so let's say this is you, over trauma and things that you've been through, you're pinching yourself off from who you really are. So this flow here that wants to come to you and is full is sometimes just trickling in. And you think that the universe isn't fair, that the universe isn't giving your fair share, and look at the people around you, but you're actually pinching yourself off from all that is, all the abundance, the love, and everything that you want flowing to you. So there's, of course, a lot of techniques of living in knowing who you are, loving yourself, having a practice of gratitude, living in the moment, and all of that will open this. But I have found in my own life that the factor that I think closes this off is sometimes from childhood, the things that you were told in very, very limited beliefs, and not loving your own self because you didn't get it from the external people telling you how great you are. You never heard those things, or maybe you never heard anybody saying that they love you, or a person that was quite negative in your life, and you think that that's true, and you're basically cutting yourself off here. So this is you, soul connection. Of course, this is super oversimplified. This is within you, but it's very hard to show a connection to your soul and to the universe when it's within you, okay? So then you're going to picture a person in your life that's been a little bit, let's say, challenging. So for me, I'm going to say this is my dad, okay? Not to go into, I don't want to bash anybody here. This is just to say a person that didn't make your life exactly smooth, maybe somebody that gave you some insults, wasn't super loving, or whatever it is. You can have somebody that was abusive, told you things, neglected you, abandoned you, all of that. So you make that person, whatever that is for you. This is their soul back here. Their soul, remember, everybody is connected. Their soul is connected. They have a soul, okay? No matter what you're seeing in the flesh, in their personality, they have a soul. This is where what we talked about earlier before. So on a person that is creating maybe a lot of damage from a very young age, they could have turned their tap almost like completely off, or off, where they started blocking off this over time. And there's either like a dot coming through or nothing. And you think that they're this terrible person not connected to anything, but they're always connected. They've just turned the tap off. And the reason it's really important to look at it in a different way like that is to not give so much power to this person, not keep yourself in victimhood. If it's that person, I'm going to hold on to them. It was unjust what they did to me. And the reason I'm like this is because they said this and this. They've kept me down. They insult me all of the time, or whatever it is. And you keep yourself into victimhood. Here's the part where I believe, and I've heard this over and over, use your discernment to see if this resonates with you. Before you guys incarnated in here, your souls, soul to soul, okay, had a contract, okay? Take away the personalities of who you are, okay? Soul to soul, you guys had a contract. You say, okay, I'm going to go in, you're going to go as my daughter, and then I'm going to treat you like this so that you learn these lessons. And then you're like, oh, that sounds good. Because you're coming from like pure love. You're not even a physical body. And you're like, yeah, that sounds good. I'll just learn some lessons on earth. I don't think that when I did this contract, I don't think I knew how real that would feel and how crappy that would feel, and all of those things over, many, many years. But dug another dimension. This made a lot of sense to us, and we made this pact, okay? So if you think about it that way, then you're like, oh, so we agreed to this. You're playing your part so that I could learn something. And then if you look at it that way, you're like, well, if I made this contract with this soul, what was the deal? What would I have wanted to learn from that? Then you have to back away from that victim mentality and go into something. So, okay, so if this was true and we made a pact, what did I agree to learn? So you really have to look, every relationship is going to be completely different. I've come to realize that one of the reasons that the relationship I have with my dad is the way it is for me to realize that love, true love, doesn't necessarily come from another person outside of you. Acceptance and waiting for somebody to say how great you are, that's not where it comes from. It comes from yourself and something much bigger, realizing who you are, what you're attached to, and not rely on somebody to tell you that you're good for your own self-worth. So I didn't have much confidence growing up. I don't think he knew what he did. He just always made fun of me and things and created a lot of damage I can see in myself, in my brother, in my mother. And I can see what I've learned anyway is to not wait to be accepted from somebody else because it might never come. They might not tell you the things you've always wanted to hear. They might not tell you that they're ever proud of you. They might not tell you that they're beautiful. They may never tell you that they love you ever. So instead of thinking, well, if my own parent doesn't love me, my own parent doesn't tell me anything great, there must be something wrong with me. So I lived a lot of my life like that and with very low self-confidence. But when I look at it this way, and this just came to me a couple days ago, I'm like, oh, this is not what I thought at all. I agreed to this, and you certainly played your part really well because I've also had to set boundaries. I then became more loving of myself, and I put boundaries up saying, you know what, nobody's going to talk to me like that, and I don't like that. So I personally can't have a conversation with him to say any of these things. Some of you might, some of you may not. And if you don't understand what that's like, then that's okay. But for those of you who are on the same wavelength as me, there's certain people where it doesn't matter what you say, it's never, they're never going to reflect about themselves. It's always somebody else's fault, right? So you have to be careful. But when you now look back and you take like an aerial view of this, you can understand what's going on. So you can see what's going on and the reasons why. And the other main lesson was that I needed to learn to not be a victim in this life. Get out of victimhood. You can observe what's going on. You set your boundaries. I don't see him very often, once or twice a year. He lives maybe an hour from me. He calls me occasionally, and I don't confront him or anything like that. I've just mostly set boundaries. And also for my kids, when he started making fun of my kids when they were younger, that's sort of when I put in those boundaries. So it's like you then feel confident enough to set those boundaries. The more that you love yourself, the more you realize that respecting yourself means not letting another person treat you that way. So it taught me to put those boundaries up, not live as a victim, and also that love and acceptance comes from within. You can never rely on an exterior person because then your worth will go up and down. Okay? So, and then in my mind, you can do this or not do this, or whatever resonates with you. So you do the visualization however it works. Of course, like I said, it's not like this. It's just easier when you separate the person from the soul, because when they've been such a trigger for you for your whole life, like for me, a trigger for 51 years, it's very difficult to say, just drop it. Or if you had an abusive spouse or a narcissistic parent, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, it's such a triggering factor that if you keep just picturing the body, to me, like I could never just forgive it and let it go. But when I separate it like this, I was like, I can let that go. And then in my mind, I said, like, this personality that looks like my dad, this flesh suit, I could even, like, for me, it's like an Oscar, an award of like, okay, now I understand what's going on. And in my mind, presenting an award to the person, the persona, the mask that they put on, the mask over this, what they put on to teach me the lessons that I had to teach. You can even give them an award to be like, wow, you played that role like really well. Okay. And then the last piece to this that helped me is, okay, it might be hard for me to drop everything the persona did here to me and my family. But I, knowing what I know now, can certainly love this. I can love who they truly are. I know now that they are a loving being in their true essence. It's just whatever life factors and they blocked off and they were abused. They started off loving as well, and with a bunch of circumstances just closed that tap more and more and more, where the persona that I see isn't their true self. It's not who they really are. It's just a mask that I'm seeing. But I can certainly send love here. I can certainly respect the contract that we might have done. And doing this, I can drop it. I can drop all of it. I know this looks really weird, but if you try it and do visuals of whatever it is in your mind, of whatever that, how they're connected to their soul, and sort of talk to their soul, love their soul, forgive the persona, give that award, do whatever, and just finally let go of this baggage. And that will really help you in 2026, because you've been able to take baggage with you up until this point, and it'll affect your life a little bit. But I believe in this coming year, the energies are intensifying to a point that if you stay in that victimhood and if you carry that with you, I think your life will intensify, but not in the ways that you want. So it's really, really important to do this. And if you're like ascending like a hot air balloon and feeling better and better, not to say that you're ascending upwards, because like my last video said, we're embodying more love and unity and peace here. But you can't really ascend if you're carrying all that garbage. So be very careful in 2026. So that's just a technique that I did. I hope that it works for you. Basically, why forgiveness is so important is forgiveness, forgiving you freedom. If you think about it, I think in my personal situation, I'm not sure if my dad's given a thought about how he treated us, what he did, the effects that he had on me, my brother, my mom. I'm not sure. I don't know that he's lost any sleep over it. I don't know that it affected him. But meanwhile, you have a bunch of people where their reactions and triggers to life are set based on this victimhood or the lack of confidence, or attracting things in your life based on the childhood and the things that you went through. So the person that caused you the damage, the trauma, and you're holding on to it because I'm like, I'm not forgiving that person because they're responsible for A, B, C, and D. And if it wasn't for them, blah, 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 blah. You are the one carrying that anger and it's affecting your life. They can be the one that caused some damage and they're not as affected by it than yourself. You have to give it up yourself. Forgiveness is forgiving you freedom. What's that saying? Anger is like holding on to a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at somebody else, but meanwhile, you're the one that gets burnt, right? I think that's a Buddhist saying. I'll put it up properly beside me. I'll look it up and put it up. But basically, you get the idea, right? So anger is like, I have anger that you gave to me. I'm going to get this stone and throw it back at you. But meanwhile, you're the one that's getting burned. So in 2026, you're the one that's going to get burnt big time. So now's the time to look at the things, use the tools that work for you. That, like I said, I've used a lot of things in many years and it didn't work as much as soon as I separated the soul and the mask and possibly thought of some contracts that we did, because the person I am today and helping people, a lot of it has to do with and helping children with bullying and making them feel better about themselves and writing a book, Super Spark, and all of the things I did stems from knowing what it's like to be a kid that doesn't have much self-confidence and always being a wallflower, not thinking anything I had to say was of any value. You can account to the things I'm actually doing now from how I was raised as well. So sometimes when you experience pain, you are humble, you are more compassionate, you understand the pain of another. And also because you're going through it, you might be able to explain something better to somebody because you're going through it. And you don't talk down to people. So if you're still watching this, it's probably because you relate that I am like you. I am not above you. I'm not talking down to you. It's because I've been through some things as well. And I've just happened to study a lot of concepts for many years and able to explain things because I've been there. So have a look at that. See if you can have just a different way of looking at things. 2026, as you can see on the world stage, is intensifying. Please don't worry about what's happening too much on the world level. And when I say don't worry, like, yes, you can be compassionate about the things that are going on in the world, but just be very cautious as to the energy that you're putting out there. Are you putting energy into the fear and separation? Or are you putting your energy in what we can be, our true selves, unity, peace, and who we truly are? So I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Jose Lindsay. This is Heartful. Thank you. Namaste.